Hi everyone, I'm Ann Sparaco with SHRM's Media Relations team.
And I'm Alan Smith, JD with SHRM's content team.
Now, Alan, this October we are celebrating National Disability Employment Awareness Month. That is quite a mouthful, but it is an important issue and something close to your heart as well.
Yes, it is. You never know when a job applicant has a disability or if an employee has or will develop a disability. I, for example, am a bilateral leg amputee who also happens to have bipolar disorder. I'm just one person with visible and invisible disabilities. I don't dwell on my disabilities at work. I focus on getting the job done.
Which is what a lot of people can probably agree with that they do as well. But it's not easy for some people who may need more support. So, how can a person with a disability be accommodated?
Not all people with disabilities need accommodations, but
Mhm.
accommodations under the Americans with Disabilities Act can run the gamut from small changes, like sitting during an interview like this,
Mhm.
to larger ones like leave to recover from surgery or other medical leave. Employers should keep in mind three things. First, the employer should talk with the employee about possible accommodations. That's
Mhm.
the so called interactive process. Second, if leave is taken under the Family and Medical Leave Act, the ADA may require leave to extend beyond the FMLA's 12 weeks a year, but indefinite leave isn't required.
Okay.
Third, accommodations may be required after leave. Don't forget about reassignment as a last resort possible accommodation.
Right. And employees have the right to privacy about their disability. So, what else should HR professionals really keep in mind when it comes to that privacy?
Questions about disabilities are prohibited except in
Mhm.
extremely limited circumstances, such as getting medical documentation of an ADA covered disability when ADA coverage isn't obvious.
Mhm.
Any information about the disability should be kept confidential.
Right, exactly. But some people may ask, what do they do if an employee decides to share that they have a disability?
The person with the disability may be sharing the information to celebrate the
Hmm.
diversity of employee experience. Questions about their disability would be prohibited in general, however. Note that sometimes a person may mention they have a disability and follow that up with a request for an accommodation,
Hmm.
in which case the employer must respond.
And there's a lot that we can take away from National Disability Employment Awareness Month, but what is one key takeaway HR professionals should keep in mind?
Lead with inclusion and celebrate your workforce's diversity.
Hmm.
Be respectful of employees' right to keep their disabilities private.
Hmm.
Be aware that should people with disabilities disclose their conditions, they may be simply celebrating diversity with you
Hmm.
or requesting a reasonable accommodation, in which case the employer has an obligation to provide an accommodation unless it results in an undue hardship, which can be difficult to prove.
It can, and inclusion is super important. So, thank you, Alan, for providing your insight on such an important issue.
Of course, Anne, and that's it for the Essential Legal 3. Thank you for joining us.